Bull and Jason, have you seen this new proposed MLB rule? They're at least considering.
Are you sure this is legit? Because I thought I saw it from like a fake account.
No, it is. It is very legit.
Okay, go ahead.
Very legit. I'm reading the article from Jeff Passan.
Yeah, Passan
Okay,
wrote
go
about
ahead.
it the other
On
day.
ESPN. Essentially, what Major League Baseball is at least considering. This is not a proposal that's going in front of the owners yet. It's just something they're talking about. Is they want to prioritize the starting pitching again,
which is interesting because from a financial standpoint, that will negatively affect the owners because if the starting pitchers are going longer, they're going to get paid more.
More money.
It's interesting that they'd want to do something that negatively affects their bottom line in theory. But go ahead.
So what the goal of this rule would be, and I'm reading this directly from the article on ESPN, to restore the prestige of the starting pitcher. And the premise of this rule would be that starting pitchers would have to pitch at least 6 innings every time out, assuming they don't hit a certain number of threshold. They throw 100 pitches.
Yeah.
If they give up more than 4 earned runs, if he gets injured, you can take him out before the 6th inning. But they want starters to go deeper and deeper into games. According to this article, in 2014, starting pitchers averaged just under 6 innings per start, according to ESPN Stats and Information, 5.97 innings. This season, that number's dropped down to 5.15 innings per start.
Here's
so
the
almost
problem,
a full inning drop in a decade.
Here's the problem with that. First of all, it's misleading because in 2014 there was no such thing as an opener. So you got to take those guys out.
But are they when they're coming up with those figures? Are they counting the bulk?
I do not know the answer to that.
Yeah, the bulk reliever. I bet you they're not.
I don't know.
I'm going to guess they're not because it's ESPN and they're doing it. They also mention in AAA, the average length of a start is 4.3 innings.
Yeah, so I bet you if you take out those openers, it's probably closer to 5.4, 5.5. I think, listen, I have liked all the new rules. I don't know about you. And a lot of them I was against when I first heard about.
I was skeptical.
I thought, why are we getting rid of the throwing the 4 pitches for the intentional walk? It was a smart move. I love the base runner on second base and extra innings.
I don't like that one.
Love it.
I don't like that one.
We're doing it in fall ball.
Are you really?
Innings. Yeah. We haven't gotten to extra innings yet, but we are. I love that you can't pull out relief pitchers until they face 3 batters. I love the pitch clock. It's made games so much more
I do love
quick.
it. I love it. I didn't know that it was going to have as much of an impact.
I didn't think it would at
That
first.
is the game changer in baseball.
Over 30 minutes less on average. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like this idea because I don't know what a difference is that making. I mean, most of the guys who are not going 6 are guys who are not good, or who get their pitch count goes too high or they suck. Most of the good pitchers are going 6, or at least they're going 5 and change. So we're going to force them to face one more batter?
Yeah.
And that just seems silly.
I didn't like the minimum batters for relief pitchers because I think you're taking too much strategy out of the game to save a minute and a half.
I love the added DH.
The what?
The DH in the National
Oh, the National League. Yeah, that fine.
People were complaining about lack of strategy there.
No.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Who wants to see a pitcher hit?
No, I don't.
But I think that you're stepping too far over into the strategy of the game when you do this. There's reasons why, and I don't love it either. Like I was the one complaining, Tanner Bibby's got to get deeper in games.
Yeah.
And so I do think pitchers need to get deeper, but I don't think you can legislate that. I don't think it's fair to legislate that. You have to let these teams manage themselves the way they see fit. Now, the interesting wrinkle that I did see, I think Jeff mentioned, if you take a guy, so maybe not necessarily legislate that he has to get that far, but if
There's consequences for not
Yes.
making it. And are you talking about DH thing?
Yes, you
That,
lose your
to me,
DH.
is the
That's
most fun
fascinating.
wrinkle, yeah.
Yeah. If you don't go 6 innings, you lose your DH. If you pull your pitcher before the 6th, you lose the DH.
What I don't understand, how is that benefiting Major League Baseball?
Well, that's why you're stepping too far into the strategy side of
Yeah.
it. You're telling teams how they can and can't manage their teams, and I don't like that. But I do think I just think it's an interesting wrinkle.
Yeah, I don't like.
And I just got done saying I hate watching pitchers hit.
Right.
But when you add a strategic component to it
Yeah.
like that, it just
What is the biggest problem in baseball? The biggest negative about baseball right now?
the biggest negative about baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know what is it. You
It's
tell
not
me.
enough hitting.
Oh well, yeah.
And the answer is, I mean, I guess if you force starters to go longer, you'll see more hits because those guys will get more tired. You're pulling out. If you force a fifth starter to go 6 innings, imagine Carrasco had to go 6 innings every game.
Well, but one of the thresholds is 4. If he gives up 4 innings, you can pull him.
4 runs.
4 runs. If you get to 4 runs,
so I don't know that it's going to change it. How many guys come out before 6 innings if they haven't given up 4 runs? I mean,
I actually think it's quite a few, but
I just don't. They got to find a way. They got rid of the shift, which another rule I liked.
Yeah, I do too.
Because they felt like offense was too far down. And last year, the first year of the change, hitting went up a little bit. But now it's lower than it's ever been again.
Yeah.
The batting averages are terrible right now. But I don't think there's anything you can do because the reason it is because you have all these late inning pitchers who throw 100 miles an hour. No relief pitcher ever faces a batter more than once.
Yeah.
And
I think you're exposing yourself to more injuries with pitchers.
Yeah. Yes.
Because a lot of times, how many times do you see guys get pulled after 87, 88 pitches now? Because you're telling these guys throw as hard as you can for as long as you can.
Right.
Where they weren't doing that 10, 15 years ago. So now if you're making them throw 100, either they're changing that and going back to don't throw it as hard as you can, or I just think that you're exposing them to even more injuries than what, and this year was a huge epidemic. It felt like
I don't
early
think that rule's going to pass.
First
of all, you'd have to have a different rule for like April because guys are not throwing 100 pitches in April. Even the good starters are not really doing that in April when the season's early.
And if you come back from injury.
Right.
Like if it's your first start back from injury.
I know, it just doesn't make any sense. I understand what they're trying to do. It is annoying when the starting pitcher's coming out after 4. You see these starting pitchers now sometimes. I'll see. I saw Craig Counsell do this in a Cubs game once. The Cubs starter, Ben Brown, early in the year, is a rookie, right? He had a shutout through 4 2/3. He took him out of the game.
Yeah.
By the way, from a statistical standpoint, we need to change the rules on how the pitcher gets
wins and losses.
Yeah. It should be the official scorer should pick the winner and the loser.
I agree.
But I want to see more offense in baseball, so anything that's going to do that, I think will be good. But I think this is stupid. It won't work because most of the guys coming out early, it's because they're close to 100 pitches or because they've given up too many runs. I don't think there's that many guys coming out in the 4th and 5th inning that are at 80 pitches and giving up 1 run. I just don't think that is that common, but who knows. Any other rule changes they're working on?
So I just want to mention that in this article they say part of the reason they are considering this is with the increase in arm injuries. They're hoping that pitchers would focus less on max velocity every pitch, knowing they have to navigate 6 innings or 100 pitches, which down the road could end up saving some arms. But I feel like, to both of your guys' point, it takes out the strategic element of baseball, which is if you have a certain matchup or if a guy can't face the lineup for a 3rd time without getting rocked, like, you shouldn't be forced to have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, but they're doing that with relief pitchers now. So, I mean, I honestly don't care about it for that point. I just think it's stupid. I don't know. But I get why you would.
I do think the DH component of it would be fun, Jason. Like,
But why is that fun? I don't want to see pitchers hit. I thought we were done with pitchers hitting.
No, but if you have to consider, all right, do we let Cookie Carrasco go through the lineup one more time? Or one more inning? He has to get through one more inning.
Yeah.
Or he has to hit later. What do you like? I feel like that could lead to some very lively topics of discussion on this show.
I don't think the pitchers would really hit, though. I think they would just pinch hit for them.
They would. You'd pinch hit for them. You'd involve the bench more. Or if there's nobody on base and 2 outs, maybe you just let the pitcher finish the inning and get another inning.
Depends on the score and all that.
It does feel a little bit like we're getting to the point, like you could sit around with your buddies at the bar and come up with like these goofy rules.
Right.
They're actually like thinking about some of this stuff, which is a little terrifying. Like some of it, I like most of the changes. I don't like all of them. I like most of the changes that they've made to this point. And I don't like Manfred, but I give him credit for being creative and thinking outside the box and trying to bring appeal back to the game and speed up the game.
Yeah.
I'm
and the numbers are up. Like TV is up and attendance is up. I think baseball is doing fairly well, but
They still need to market their guys better. They're awful at marketing.
It's got
Awful.
I think it's a little better than it was.
Go
but
take the
still-
top. Go take the top 5 people from NBA marketing. Just overpay them and bring them because NBA, I think, does it best.
I do think, to some degree, Ohtani and Judge are out there more than most stars have been in the past.
Well, it's the markets they play in help.
Yeah. I see them in commercials. You know, I feel like we never saw Mike Trout in commercials.
No.
We didn't see Albert Pujols in commercials.
No, I mentioned this before. When MLB All-Star was here, and they've got all the players at the podium.
Yeah.
Mike Trout had like nobody at his podium.
Yeah.
I'm like, if this were the NBA, can you imagine trying to get to Kevin Durant at All-Star Weekend at his podium?
Right.
Like
I know.
It was 9 and 10 deep 20 minutes before he got to the podium. And Trout, I could just walk right up to him.
Yeah.
There's nobody there.
It's strange. But yeah, baseball has been, again, I think they've started to improve slightly, but they still are terrible.
Yeah.
Now, it's, basketball by the nature of the sport is easier to market the stars. They kind of market themselves. It's more of an individual sport, even though it's a team sport.
They have more teams, like players have their own teams that do this stuff for them.
Exactly. But yes, baseball could do a much better job.
Yeah.
Much better. Because in football, which, in the past had been an anonymous sport because you can't even see guys' faces, Patrick Mahomes, big star. So is Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce.
A lot of, Aaron Rodgers has been. Brett Favre was. There's been a lot of guys in the NFL, and baseball has been really poor at that. So, anyway. All right, Mikey.